9 News Plus weather, sponsored by Carrier Colorado. The future of home comfort is here.
Hey, thanks so much for joining us here on 9 News Plus. I'm 9 News meteorologist Chris Bianchi on this toasty Monday with those temperatures that'll probably get up to 90 degrees for the first time this season, first time since last September that we've gotten to 90 or above here in Denver. If we get there, it looks like for sure it'll be our warmest day so far this calendar year. That said, we do have some showers and storms that'll move their way back into the picture on Wednesday and Thursday, but today, one of those rare days here, and we haven't had this in a couple months at this point, where across the state, I think we're going to be bone dry across the entire state of Colorado for our day today, which is, again, it's been a few months since we've said that. Now, one concern with this, you can probably just about pick it out here off in the distance. You might notice a little layer of haze off in the distance. That is thanks to some ground ozone that is developing, so an air quality alert in place for the Front Range until 4 p.m. today. So today, likely our first 90-plus degree day of the calendar year. We're dry until Wednesday, and then later in the week, we get some of those storms that move their way on into the picture. HD Doppler radar, it is quiet across the state. And again, it has been, I'm guessing, a good 3-4 months since I can remember a day where across the entire state we are completely dry for us for today. That said, again, there's that air quality alert that covers the entire Front Range. For today, we'll probably see another one issued for tomorrow, thanks to, again, that ground ozone that kicks in this time of year. Ground ozone, obviously very different from wildfire smoke, that is due to a combination of the high sun angle with warmer temperatures that activates the ground ozone, and that means that you should limit your time outdoors. Always keep in mind this time of year too, when we have these air quality alerts, try not to fill up gas that adds a lot of ozone. Try not to fill up on gas during the day part hours. Don't mow your lawn, for example, between now and 4 or 5 o'clock. You can do it this evening, but again, that adds a lot of that ground ozone, can make things a lot worse. So again, try and keep a couple of those things in mind for today. Now, temperatures. That's the big story for today. Already 81 for us here in Denver as of 11 o'clock. We are very likely heading up to 90 plus for today. Even in the mountains, 60s and 70s, 83 for our friends out in Grand Junction. Grand Junction had its first 90 plus day of the year yesterday, which is unusually late for our friends out there on the western slope. So for today, 90 degrees for us here in Denver. Very likely our first 90 plus day of the year, but this is pretty late for us here in Denver. Our average first 90 degree day of the year is June the 10th. Last few years, for a little bit of context, at this point last year, we already had 10 days at 90 or above here in Denver. So this is pretty late in the season for us to be talking about our first 90 plus days. For a little bit of context, this is also far from unheard of. We've had our first 90 plus day as late July here in Denver. So it feels late. It is late, but it's not by any stretch of the imagination unheard of. So forecast highs for today. A few spots could touch 92, 93 here across the metro area. Of course, you get up to 8,000 feet or above. There is Mother Nature's version of air conditioning. If you're looking for some of that cooler weather, head up into the foothills about 20 miles outside of Denver, and it'll be down into the 70s for a high temperature for today. So as I mentioned, unusual to say at the least for us here across the entire state for today. I don't think we're going to have a single drop of rain or a single snowflake across the entire state for today. Been a few months since I've been able to say that. For tonight, temperatures drop back into the mid-50s. It is a calm, comfortable night for us with those winds. A little bit blustery. Should mention that into the mountains, it will be a bit on the gusty side. You might have noticed those lenticular clouds, those little flying saucer clouds that we had yesterday. When we get those, that's normally something you'll see in the wintertime, but anytime we see those lenticulars, that means it's a little bit on the windy side somewhere here in the mountains, and that means for today, it's going to be a little bit blustery at times for us into the high country, especially the further north and west you go. For tomorrow, temperatures top it out in the upper 80s for us here in town, so a little cooler tomorrow compared to today, but not bad at all. It is breezy, it is partly cloudy. Maybe a few more late day clouds tomorrow compared to today. No big deal. Wind still a little bit on the breezy side, but it's another pleasant day. I know a lot of you, this is anecdotal, but a lot of you have been begging with all this rain that we've had all spring long for some of this more typical summer-like weather to move on in, and here it is. This is not exactly, I don't know. Our average high for today, for a little bit of context, 84. By midweek, it's 85. So this is actually still a tick below average with these highs, generally in the low 80s. Tomorrow, upper 80s, of course. Then we're down to the low 80s, maybe some mid 80s mixed in there as well. I will say this, outdoor plans on Thursday, I would plan around those. Thursday in particular, it looks pretty stormy to me. Other than that, though, the upcoming weekend looks beautiful, low to mid 80s, lots of sunshine early next week, staying on the comfortable side, but otherwise around maybe slightly cooler than average, generally speaking, over the course of the next few days. But back over to that 90-degree day for us here in Denver, which looks very likely for this afternoon. First 90-plus day of the year, very likely for today, as I've been talking about. Our average first 90-plus day of the year in Denver is on June the 10th, 30-year average. So that's 1990 to 2020. That is June the 6th. So we've noticed that with a warming climate that those first 90-plus days have gotten earlier and earlier in recent years. Last year, though, for a bit of context, our first 90-plus day of the year was on May the 11th. And again, by this point of last year, we'd already had 10 days at 90 or above so far in the year. So point being, yes, it is certainly going to be on the warm side for today. And it's been a while since we've had those 90-plus days. I believe it's September the 20th of last year was the last time we got up to 90 or above here in Denver. And for today, we are expecting our first 90-degree day of the calendar year, and we'll continue to track it for you. And again, tomorrow, a little cooler, a bit more afternoon cloud cover. Isolated showers and storms return for Wednesday. Thursday looking pretty stormy, and then back to some drier weather for Friday and the upcoming weekend. So pretty nice forecast all in all, especially considering all the rain that we've had so far this month, looking a lot more tranquil this week compared to last week, with, again, Thursday perhaps being the one exception to that. Meteorologist Greg Perez will have an update for you coming up at 9 News at noon and at 2 p.m. right here on 9 News Plus. Then we'll have Chief Meteorologist Kathy Sieben in at 4 and 5, and then meteorologist Danielle Grant in at 6, 9, 10 tonight on the 9 News family of networks. Once again, I'm 9 News meteorologist Chris Bianchi. Thanks for joining us here on 9 News Plus. Have a great rest of your Monday.